Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news at 6 on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari bids adieu to Rajya Sabha, tells Upper House that opportunity to question government policies is what keeps democracy from turning into tyranny. Rajya Sabha members heap lavish praises on Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari. Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulates Ansari on his contributions to the nation and to the running of the House. And Vice President-elect Venkaiah Naidu calls India the best model of secularism, rejects as political propaganda view that there is a sense of insecurity among minorities in the country. Well, Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari bid adieu to the Upper House on Thursday after serving 2 consecutive tenures at the helm. Quoting India's first Vice President, Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, he said that the opposition's opportunity to question government policies is what keeps a democracy from turning into tyranny. Mohammad Hamid Ansari served as the 12th Vice President of India since August 11, 2007. He is the second person to be re-elected as Indian Vice President after Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan in 1957. He was first elected as the Vice President and the Rajya Sabha Chairman in 2007 and re-elected in 2012.
All the members, Honourable Leader of the House, Honourable Leader of Opposition, Honourable Deputy Chairman, Honourable Leaders of political parties, Honourable Members of the Rajya Sabha. मुझ पे इल्ज़ाम इतने लगाए गए, बेगुनाही के अंदाज जाते रहे. A decade is a long time in the life of an individual. It is easy yet imprudent to reflect upon it at this early stage. The eloquence of preceding speakers and the generosity of their sentiments must remain unmatched. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge its intensity and thank them individually and collectively. When I was welcomed in this house 10 years back, an eminent leader, no longer with us in this world, gave a piece of advice, and I quote him, "Kal ke baad, aapko bahut तकलीफ होगी. मुझे आपसे हमदर्दी है कि आप इस तकलीफ को झेल जाएं. और एक सलाह भी है कि हम लोग कितना भी हल्ला करें, आप अपने चेहरे पर गुस्सा मत दिखाइए और हमेशा हंसते रहिए. हम सब के सब लोग देश के दुश्मन नहीं हैं, लेकिन हम सब एक मुस्कान पर फिदा हो जाते हैं और चुपचाप बैठ जाते हैं." I confess I had no difficulty in benefiting from this eminently sensible counsel. I discovered in these years the validity of the dictum that wishing to be friends is quick work, but friendship is a slow ripening fruit. It needs to be nurtured. I venture to think that I succeeded in fair measure. The chair is like an umpire in cricket or a referee in a hockey match, witnessing the play and the players, but without becoming a player. Its only source of reference is the book of rules. This House is a creation of the Constitution and reflective of the wisdom and foresight of the founding fathers who wished it to portray India's diversity and to be a calibrated restraint on hasty legislation. It has upheld democracy's sacred creed that discussion, instead of being a stumbling block in the way of action, is in fact an indispensable preliminary to wise action. Deviation from this golden rule contribute neither to diligent policy making nor to our claim to be a mature democracy based on rule of law. In this context, I would like to recall, as I did in August 2012, the words of the most distinguished of my predecessors, Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, and I quote, "A democracy is distinguished by the protection it gives to minorities. A democracy is likely to degenerate into a tyranny if it does not allow the opposition groups to criticize freely and frankly the policies of the government. But at the same time, the minorities have also their responsibilities. While they have every right to criticize, their right of criticism should not degenerate into willful hampering and obstruction of the work of Parliament. All groups must, therefore, have their rights and their responsibilities." End of quote. I fervently hope that all sections of the House would seek to achieve this laudable objective. The manner in which they attend to their business is watched by the citizen body with a discerning eye. As I leave this chair, I wish the Rajya Sabha well. I wish success to its members in the responsibilities entrusted to them. I thank the Secretary General, Shri Shamsher Sharif, and the officials of the Rajya Sabha Secretariat for the exemplary manner in which they attended to their responsibilities. An Urdu couplet is perhaps appropriate way of farewell. आओ कि आज खत्म करें दास्तान इश्क, अब खत्म आशिकी के फसाने सुनाए हम. जय हिंद.
Ansari joined the Indian Foreign Service in 1961 and served in various diplomatic missions for 40 years. He is credited with nurturing the strong bilateral relations with Iraq, Saudi Arabia and UAE. His efforts in all the missions strengthened India's relations with the respective countries. He was also awarded the Padma Shri for his role in furthering India's diplomatic relations with various countries. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha Television. Prime Minister Narendra Modi bade farewell to Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari on Thursday. He congratulated Vice President Ansari on his contributions to the nation and in the running of the House. The Prime Minister said his diplomatic insights were invaluable.
Honorable Prime Minister.
Making a valedictory speech for Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that his contribution has been imperative. Prime Minister Modi also said that Vice President's diplomatic insights were invaluable.
आपका अपना जीवन भी एक कैरियर डिप्लोमेट का रहा. अब कैरियर डिप्लोमेट क्या होता है वो तो मुझे प्रधानमंत्री बनने के बाद ही समझ आया, क्योंकि उनके हंसने का अर्थ क्या होता है, उनका हाथ मिलाने के तरीका का क्या हाथ होता है, वो तुरंत समझ नहीं आता है, क्योंकि उनकी ट्रेनिंग वही होती है. और लेकिन उस कौशल्य का उपयोग ये 10 साल जरूर यहाँ हुआ होगा आपको, कि सबको संभालने में उस कौशल्य ने किस प्रकार से लाभ इस सदन को पहुँचाया होगा. मेरा परिचय ज़्यादा तो रहा नहीं, लेकिन जब भी मिलना हुआ काफ़ी कुछ आपसे जानने समझने को मिलता था. मेरी विदेश यात्रा से जाने से पहले, आने से के बाद आपसे जब बात करने का मौका मिलता था तो आपकी जो एक इंसाइट थी उसका मैं ज़रूर अनुभव करता था, और वो मुझे चीज़ों को जो दिखती है उसके सिवाय क्या हो सकती है इसको समझने का एक अवसर देती थी. और इसलिए मैं हृदय से आपका बहुत आभारी हूँ. मेरी तरफ से आपको हृदय से बहुत-बहुत शुभकामनाएं हैं।
Prime Minister Modi also praised Vice President Ansari's wisdom on issues and his deep insight on various matters. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha Television. Well, the Rajya Sabha on Thursday heaped lavish praises on Chairman Hamid Ansari as he bowed out as Vice President and Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Let's take a listen in.
In his farewell address to the Vice President, Leader of the House and Finance Minister Arun Jaitley said the House witnessed both disruptions as well as high-quality debates during the tenure of Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari.
10 years is indeed a very long association, and therefore it's also for both you and also the members of this House a very nostalgic occasion. Your tenure may have seen disturbances, but it also saw a very high quality of debates on several occasions. And I'm sure we will all relish those debates, and you will carry with you memories of those debates itself.
Leader of Opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad, former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh and Deputy Chairman P.J. Kurian hailed Ansari's contribution.
आपने चेयरमैन के तौर पर नेशनल माइनॉरिटीज़ कमीशन में जो काम किया वो भी हमेशा सराहनीय रहेगा। आपने किताबें लिखी, आपको कई देशों ने ऑनरेरी डिग्री दी जिसका आपने कभी इस्तेमाल नहीं किया। अपने देश में भी आपको पद्मश्री से आज से मेरे ख्याल में 33-34 साल पहले नवाजा गया। आप स्पोर्ट्समैन हैं, आपके साथ गोल्फ खेलने का भी मौका मिला।
And I am reminded of a couplet by Iqbal, मिट गए मिस्र यूनान और रोमा, कायम है अब तक लेकिन कायम है अब तक नामो निशान हमारा, कुछ बात है कि हस्ती मिटती नहीं हमारी, सदियों रहा है दुश्मन दौरे ज़माना हमारा. When I reflect on India's history, the tensions and the challenges that our country faces from time to time, yet it keeps on going, progressing from moment to moment. It is largely because people of your great statesmanship have guided this country in various capacities from time to time.
Sir, wherever you were, in whatever position you held, you see were par excellence in those positions. As Vice Chairman, as Deputy, as the Chairman of this House, sir, all of us have admiration for you. Maybe there is some difference on your rulings, but all of us have great admiration for you. Sir, as Deputy Chairman who worked with you, sir, I can say that I enjoyed it. It was a privilege for me to work with you, sir. You protected me, you guided me, you supported me, and you corrected me, sir.
Members across the political spectrum lauded Ansari for upholding constitutional norms.
आपने सदैव कोशिश की कि सदन ठीक तरीके से चले, और एक बात जो हम सदैव याद रखेंगे वो ये कि आपने किसी बिल को दिन में पास करने की इजाज़त नहीं।
You are more judicious than any other judicially trained personality. So, without any discrimination, you conducted this house. And also, I would like to submit that you are a versatile genius.
हामिद हमद से बना है, हमद से, और अंसारी अंसार से बना है। तो हमदर्दी और मददगार, ये आपका के नाम से ये ध्वनि निकलती है, और उसको आज हम उसमें सिर्फ यही जोड़ना चाहते हैं कि आपने उसको अक्षरशः अपने नाम को यहाँ जिया है और साबित किया है, सही साबित किया है।
Did you know that the Honorable Chairman of the Rajya Sabha and the Vice President of India was a number 5 batsman, a wicket keeper, and a top very agile wicket keeper who got the college cap, and more on cricket, that when you were the ambassador to Iran, you introduced cricket to the embassy in Iran, and Iran, they say, is indebted to you because you started popularizing cricket there.
I think so. One thing that you have contributed, which I very gratefully acknowledge, is to give this House a certain gravitas. That what we discuss here is our issues of substance, and those issues of substance, whatever be the acrimony, whatever be the differences, eventually we did come to very, very important conclusions, passed many a legislation, and you stood like a rock in defense of the rights of this House.
हमें आपने हाउस में हमेशा प्रोत्साहन देते आए हैं. इतना ही नहीं, हाउस में जो भी नए मेंबर्स होके आते हैं उनको भी आप हमेशा सपोर्ट करते हैं, आपका सपोर्ट मिलता है.
तो आपका समय बचा है, आगे के लिए अच्छा स्वस्थ रहेंगे, ऐसी मनोकामना करते हुए कि आप अपनी लेखनी के माध्यम से गरीबों को, इस देश में रहने वाले लोगों को अपनी लेखनी के माध्यम से फ़ायदा पहुंचाएंगे. यही ईश्वर से कामना करते हुए मैं अपनी तरफ से, अपनी पार्टी बहुजन समाज पार्टी की तरफ से आपको बधाई देता हूं.
Sir, your eloquence and your vocabulary has many a time impressed us like anything. One occasion I would like to point out here. During a question hour, when the supplement questions were raised by the members at length, you said that a supplement question is only a window and not an elephant gate. And such many occasions, sir. And you were inclusive, you were accommodative. You also looked at the backbenchers, which was a special quality of yours for which we have to be very thankful, sir.
आपका कार्यकाल बेमिसाल रहा. मैंने हमेशा देखा कि आप हमेशा इम्पार्शल रहे, नियम और कानून को तोड़ने नहीं दिया. इस सदन में दोनों तरफ इतने कायदे आज़म बैठे हैं, यहाँ और वहाँ, और कानून तोड़ने में वो लोग ज़्यादा माहिर होते हैं. लेकिन आपने ऐसे बड़े बड़े वकीलों को भी कानून नहीं तोड़ने दिया.
You have never been afraid to call a spade, and that is one quality of yours which we admire, because at times you have annoyed the ruling party of the day, yet accommodated the voice which needs to be heard. I shall never forget that you were the person, you were the chairman who allowed 84 to be discussed in this House. For years there was a clamor to discuss 84, yet this House would not take it up. And after you allowed that discussion, it was also taken up in the Lok Sabha.
I can proudly call you, you are a great reformer. The reforms which you introduced with regard to the zero hour, the question hour, the calling attention motion are all very significant, and Rajya Sabha will ever remember those reforms.
By your values and behavior, you have at all times brought dignity and stature to this House. I have witnessed your anguish when the House was disrupted and not allowed to function. And yet, you have remained impartial and fair and never showed any preference for any person or party.
Your leadership of this House has been exemplary, dignified, and honorable, despite the frequent provocations and not infrequent provocations by the politics of our parliament. So to me, as an independent MP, sir, you have provided counsel, encouragement, and support. And most importantly, sir, that rare commodity of talking time in Parliament that has been deprived, that has been in short supply to the independence of this House.
Chairman Ansari was also appreciated for extending the working hours of Rajya Sabha from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., shifting the question hour timing from 11 a.m. to noon and starting the Rajya Sabha TV channel. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Thank you. Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari feels a sense of insecurity is gripping Muslims in the country. Ansari, whose second 5-year term as Vice President ends today, said this in an interview to Karan Thapar for Rajya Sabha television. The interview will be aired on Rajya Sabha TV at 8 p.m. today. We bring you excerpts from the interview.
Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari has flagged the disturbing trend of questioning the Indianness of citizens. In an interview to Karan Thapar for Rajya Sabha television, he said this in the context of a sense of unease gripping the Muslim community.
From all I hear from different quarters in the country, I heard the same thing in Bangalore, I've heard from other parts of the country. I hear a great deal more about it in North India.
On the worsening law and order situation in Jammu and Kashmir, the Vice President felt the problem was essentially a political one and needed a political solution.
The problem has always been primarily a political problem, and it has to be addressed politically. Well, when young boys and girls come out onto the street and throw stones, day after day, week after week, month after month, it is something to worry about because they are our children, they are our citizens.
The Vice President also answered questions on triple talaq, on which he said social reform was needed to eradicate the practice.
Firstly, it is a social aberration. It is not a religious requirement. The religious requirement is crystal clear, emphatic. There are no two views about it. But patriarchy, social customs has all crept into it to create a situation which is highly undesirable.
Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari also expressed satisfaction about his 10-year-long tenure. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, you can watch the whole interview on Rajya Sabha television at 8 p.m. tonight. Well, a day before he takes oath as the Vice President of India, Venkaiah Naidu spoke about a range of issues from the alleged intolerance in the country to the changing ethos of politics. Let's take a listen in.
According to me, as a student of history and a student of politics till yesterday, Indian ethos, Indian values, they respect each other's right. And what you call in the modern day secularism, Sarva Dharma Samabhavana, equal respect for all religions. That is very much there in the blood of the people of India. Not because of this party or that party or this government or that government. Not even because of constitution also. Constitution, yes. But even before the constitution, the very Indian people, their mind, their blood, they have that secularism, Sarva Dharma Samabhavana. And whoever has come from outside, they have invited them with open arms. That's the tradition of the country, one. And secondly, with regard to minorities, I find people are now trying to convert this into a political issue. The day when you started treating minorities as vote banks, you started hurting their interests. This is how I see it. Whoever it is, I am not saying this party or that party. That's not my business. We have to consider that they are equal partners in the country. Now, another menace that has crept into political system in the country is opportunism and defections. That has become a very major issue now across the country. We brought the anti-defection law. Has it served the purpose? Is it sufficient? We have to think about it. Politicians who are there in the politics in the country, they have to introspect about it. And then come forward with much more improved versions to tackle this menace of defection. I am not against people changing parties. If your party goes wrong, if you are not able to tune according to the need of the people or wish of the people, then naturally the party leadership goes berserk and do not even respect the sentiments of the larger this thing. One can change the party. But the moment you are changing the party, you must resign from the post you got on account of that party. With regard to politics, with my little experience as a party functionary, as a ruling party president and all, what I want to tell is that the politics have undergone a change. Now again, the politicians has to look back and see to it that the politics again are brought to on the basis of ideology, on the basis of programs, on the basis of issues. All these people who are in other parties till yesterday, they are all my rivals. That should be the attitude. We should be meeting each other, talking to each other, consultations, we should be attending social functions, and we should not have any animosity against each other. After all, what is BJP, what is Congress, what is Communist, what is the other parties? Everybody is trying to serve the people in their own way, as per their thinking and as per their philosophy. So and that is the main purpose, is to serving the people. So one should not consider other as his enemy. This is another important point I am commenting, because I want the people to take note of the same. Because we have seen in the recent past that sort of animosity now.
Well, that's it on this newscast, but do stay tuned for a function to bid farewell to Mohammad Hamid Ansari, the Vice President of India and the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. It's his last day today. It's a function to bid farewell to him that is taking place at the GMC Baloyogi Auditorium, Parliament Library building. Stay tuned for that.